In August of 2010, I found myself over $100,000 in debt. I had just flipped the first house and nothing was working. 5 years later, we had sold the first few brand new homes and we were completely out of debt except our house. What I'm gonna teach you today can take you from being underwater to being okay. Not necessarily rich, but just be okay. Depending on how you take it and what the Lord's path is for your life, you may become very wealthy. When we had flipped our very first house, we bought it in March of 2010 and we sold it in August of 2010. We barely made a profit. We made $8,000. My brother and I split it up. And if it wasn't because we got a free roof through an insurance claim, we probably would have split a couple grand. I found myself grateful, but at the same time on my knees asking the Lord for help, because in August 2010, I found myself at one of the lowest points in my life. I had been self-employed since 2008. I first started as a loan officer in April 2008 with zero experience, zero. No realtor connections, no industry connections, no nothing. About a year, I lost 20 grand. And then the year after that, I became a public insurance adjuster, which is the person that you can hire to fight the insurance company when they offer you nothing on your insurance claim. When it comes to land development, there's so many variables that happen. This project had a little bit of every single thing that you can see in real estate. This was a deal that we had under contract, my brother and I. We closed on it, and then one of our clients said that they wanted a project, so we sold it to them. So in essence, we did a double close. My brother designed and built the subdivision, and I marketed it and sold it. So almost every aspect of a development project was here. When you're looking at land development, the number one thing to do is the market analysis, and that's phase one. My recommendation on any development in Charlotte is that you only look at that deal for what you can do as the bare minimum that you can do. So if it's a single family lot, but you think you can put two, analyze it as a single family lot and buy it that way, because you may not end up being able to get two. You know, if it tells you 4 units, but you know you can do two, you know, and so forth. Zoning allows you to build 2 townhomes, but the covenant and restrictions do not allow you to build the 2 townhomes. So you also have to check the title to make sure that you're not putting something under contract that doesn't work out. You also want to analyze the area for growth. Is growth happening? Right here, right now, we have the highway next to us. And yes, outside, there's a lot of noise, but inside is nice. There's development across the street. And this is the entry-level point for this neighborhood. Even though it's not the hottest location in the neighborhood, it's a hot location within the city. Now, phase 2 is the cost estimates. You have 5 type of costs: soft costs, hard costs, vertical costs, third bucket costs, and sensitivity factors. Those are the main 5 that we have. When you're doing land development, a lot of sellers, especially if you're buying several acres, they're not happy with a $5,000 deposit. They want 20, they want 30, they want 50. They want more and more and more, depending on what the potential for that lot is. So many people, what they do is they do a letter of intent, and then they start doing all this stuff, and then they make the offer after they have done the deal analysis. Now, when I analyze a project, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna build 5 2,500 square foot homes that all are gonna sell for $725. So I may start with a 2,100 square foot home and end up with a 3,200 square foot home. And then I use that entry level price point to build on the next one. So I can sell the next house for a little bit more per square foot than the first one. You make the money when you buy. You don't make the money when you sell. Very important. So if you're a realtor, you gotta drum that into your clients' heads. They make the money when they buy, not when they sell. Because worst case scenario, if you buy this deal for $150,000, $100,000, and then you don't want to develop it, then you can sell it for a quick $150, a quick $200, and your client is always protected, or you're always protected as an investor. It doesn't mean that if you buy it for $250 that you can't sell it for a little bit more. It's just that it won't be that much more once you have the contract. If you got it at a great deal, you can wholesale the contract. If it's a so-so deal, after you've done all this, then you renegotiate. If that works out, you close. If not, you walk away. So you got to be willing to pay to play is what it's called. So you may have to lose your deposits. You may have to lose the fees that you pay engineers, surveyors. Overall, because not everything is a home run, the more that you do this, the more chances you have to make a home run. So what do I consider a home run? When I make 50% profit of what the house sold for. So it would be like making on this deal 1.2 million. That's a home run. But once you're in the game, depending on the volume that you're doing, if you're just doing 1 or 2 a year, make sure that you have at least 30% margin. That's the bare minimum. But if you're doing volume, there's a lot of people that don't care if they're making 20 or 15% because they're doing volume. If you're doing 20 houses a year, 50 houses a year, because as you're going, you're adjusting with the market.